Hi everybody. Today we're going to just review a few little things about midpoint that we learned last week and then apply the final new thing we need to learn about segments, which is algebra problems with midpoint. So first let's review the word midpoint. The word midpoint that we see on all four of these problems means the same thing, and everyone when they first are asked the definition of midpoint says, oh, it's a point in the middle. Well, what does it mean to be a point in the middle? And like on here in the top right picture, a point in the middle is the exact same distance from one of the endpoints to the other endpoint. And it doesn't matter whether you use 3 marks or 2 marks or 1 mark. It doesn't really matter. Let's just be clear that these little marks mean the two pieces are the same on either side of the midpoint. They create two equal pieces. So what that means is, hey, if this piece here is 25, the other piece here is 25. Those between y and u. And then that means the whole thing would be 25 plus 25. 50. Simple enough. The same idea applies here, but here we have to figure out, hey, what number would have to be here and here to be a total of 62? What number plus what number would add up to 62? And the way to do that would be to divide by 2, and 62 divided by 2 is 31. Both this part here is 31, the other part here is 31. And these are problems that we should have learned last week, and whether you practice them much or not, there'll be problems that we'll see quite a bit. Here on the bottom are the new problems, and most of your new problems will look like this first one on the bottom left. The two pieces are the same. So on the top left, they were 25 and 25. On the top right, they were 31 and 31. Here they have two algebra things, but we know they are the same. What makes sense to do for midpoint when things are the same is to put an equal sign. The first part is equal to the second part. Now we have to solve that. Remember that when there's no number in front of the x, it's the equivalent of a 1x. So 1x minus 3x is negative 2x. Plus 9 equals negative 2. Sorry, missing the negative sign there. Give me a moment. And then we get negative 2x equals negative 11. And you get x equals 5.5. Is it okay to get a decimal? Of course it is. Decimals can be our answers. Even negative values for x could be our answers. All right, so then what do we have to do from there is it says find wx and xy. So finding another color here, excuse me, let me grab purple. If we're trying to find wx is this part right here. So what you do is take x plus 9 and you plug in your answer of 5.5. Excuse me. That gives you 14.5. And if that part is 14.5, if we're trying to find out, let's go with orange here. We're trying to find out wy. Wy is the whole thing. So it's 14.5 plus another 14.5 comes out to be 29. So careful, after you get an answer for x, like 5.5, you are going to have to plug it back in. Like we did in purple, plug it back in, get an answer for wx. That's going to be your typical problem you're going to see today that you're going to be working on your assignment. However, there will be times you have to plug things into two parts, so that's why I did the part in orange also, and sometimes you'd only do the orange part, the whole thing. You'll have to read the letters to see what are the two letters. So like for example, when it says wy, go from w all the way to y, and it lets you know what to do, the two parts. Final question. Careful. At first, it seems that what you should be doing is to set the two things equal, because that's what we did in the last one. First one equals second one, right? Nope. So I know that seems right, but it's not. Let's talk about y and label our picture. SD is 2x plus 4. So I'll put it between letters S and D. Careful, SF is 5x minus 1. what can we do here? We can't set them equal. They're not equal things. So what do? Well, what we have to do is go back to what we did before. What we originally learned about in this chapter of segments was the first part of the picture plus the second part of the picture equals the whole thing. Sorry for the handwriting. I'm actually going to erase that and take an extra 20 seconds here. I apologize for those of you who think that's a waste of time, but my handwriting's bad enough because I don't have a stylus. So let's try again. First part plus the second part equals the whole thing. There we go. All right, so then what do we do to figure out these parts? Well, the first part is easy. The first part is on the left, 2x plus 4. Careful, 5x minus 1 is the second part of the problem, but it's not the second part of the picture. The second part of the picture is blank at the moment. We'll come back to it in a moment. You may know the answer. We'll come back to it. The whole thing is 5x minus 1. It's all the way across the picture. So the only thing that's challenging on this midpoint problem, different than the ones we did last week, is what's the second part? And because it's a midpoint problem, the second part is also 2x plus 4. 2x plus 4 plus another 2x plus 4 equals 5x minus 1. I'm running out of room here, so I'm going to only partially complete this problem. 4x plus 8 equals 5x minus 1. You'd get an answer if x equals 9 if you solved it out. And then if you plugged it back in and plugged it back into SF, it would come out to be 44. I'm just out of room on my page, so I'm going to stop right there. Most of your problems that you're going to be doing right now is you go to IXL level to finish it up to a score of 90 is going to be like the bottom left. But occasionally you'll see something like the bottom right where you don't have the two pieces, you have one of the two pieces in the whole thing. If that's the case, make sure you do first part plus the same second part equals the whole thing to solve it out. All you're doing right now is finish up an IXL level to 90, and then you'll be moving on from there and checking out what's next on Google Classroom. Take care, everybody, and I'll talk to you later.